CPGLP 102.9 FM radio. We are located at 670 Washington Street in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Our zip code is 02124. Our phone number is 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. The views and opinions expressed by the following paid program are those of the program producers, and they do not reflect the views and opinion of Global Ministries Christian Church, its staff, or management.
This is the time when we open up the doors to you and we let them in. When you're up, let 'em in. When you're down, let 'em in. When you're bound, let 'em in. Let 'em in.
Welcome to What's on the Menu on Boston Praise Radio 102.9 FM. You can also find us on Facebook at our own webpage, whatsonthemenuboston.com, and on Boston Praise Radio on the Facebook pages. We air every first and third Sunday of the month. Today's show is If Pimpin' Ain't Easy, Imagine the Life of a Prostitute. And here are our hosts, Tracy Lithcutt and James Levesque.
Here we go, Jay Jizzy. What do we have on the menu today?
Oh, man, we have an epic show today, Trey Ocho.
I believe so. Jay, I just have to mention this too. So my buddies and I, we play around and talk a lot of trash to one another. So I told one of my boys, I want to change my career. I want to be a gangster now. I don't want to be, and doing all this corny stuff, going to work. I want to be a gangster. Would pimping fit in that category?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. Would pimping be? I don't think so. I don't know.
And the problem with that, Jay, is when did our young men decide that they wanted to be pimps? What happened to our young men that they wanted to go down that route? I remember seeing a special needs kid, young man come up to me. He was definitely developed challenge and come up to me. I want to be a pimp.
He want to be a pimp. He want to be a pimp.
I couldn't believe it, Jay. But we have 4 former ladies of the streets, beautiful ladies, part of the fabric of our community. We have community star power here today. We have Miss Stacy Reed that's in the house. We have Miss CC Spence. And we have 2 young, beautiful women that decide to stay anonymous, and we definitely respect that. So let's get right into our topic. Stacy, let me go to you first. Okay. At what age do young ladies engage in this profession of being a prostitute?
I started at the age of 14, like 14, 15 years old, straight out of high school.
How about you, Cece? What age were you?
About 15. About 15.
Yeah. Let's just go right into how we get this done. So when you initially got out there, how did you initially get engaged in the profession?
It was drugs pretty much, and like I had brothers that were pimps and they had their women which were prostitutes, and I used to come home from school, do my homework, all that, but I always used to talk with my brother's girlfriend, and that's how I got engaged with it. Okay. Now I've always heard this term that was used years ago called choosing. Make it. I used to go around talking about choosing. I had no idea what it meant, though. What is the term choosing?
When a young lady chooses a pimp.
And how would you go about doing that? What would make your mind up on who you would actually decide to be with?
For me, it was the person that seemed to have the most money and the most hoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is a pimp's role in this whole profession? What is their role in this game? I said to myself, why wouldn't you just make the money and keep it yourself? What is the pimp's role?
Well, it's supposed to be for protection, right? To look out for you and to be your banker or facilitator or what have you.
Okay, Cece, how about you chime in on that as well?
You said about like the pimp,
And yeah, it's for protection, as Stacy said. But like, you know, they want to see who got the most hoes and who can get the most hoes, and you know, it's like a look good thing. Okay. You know, it's really like a look good thing. Yeah, they protect you, but you know, you also mentioned about choosing. But like, if I wanted to choose another one, you know, we choose another one because that one is better than the other one. So we thought.
So in that particular game of the choosing, you could just walk away from one pimp and go to another without no problem.
Not exactly. Easy. You have to like back when, as I remember, it was like. First of all, we picked the prettiest one. You know, back in the day, was the guy who looked most like Prince or Michael Jackson, right? Yeah. Oh, who had the best, the flyest car, and you don't just say, "Hey, I want to be with you." You used to have to come up with a certain amount of money, which they call a quota, right? You have to come up with anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or whatever, rob a trick, 900, 1,000, whatever, and bring it to the man that you want to be with or the pimp you want to be with, and then he's supposed to go and tell the man that you was with that you chose up or whatever, and then you're supposed to be safe from there. But that doesn't always happen. We'll get the rest of that later.
Okay.
Wow.
The other thing is that I got into life because it was glamorous to me. Okay. So when I got into life, I didn't have a pimp. So I was told that I need to choose or get chosen.
Okay, well, because you couldn't be safe out there without having somebody.
Right, I couldn't be on the block without a pimp.
So let's go into that part, because I know that people have always talked about, you know, some of the dangerous pieces of it. But what about the glam? Was there anything glamorous about that life that you really loved about it? Anyone?
Yeah, well, you know, at the beginning it was. You know, and just to be truthfully honest, it was like fun. You know, you wore nice clothes, you wore like nice jewelry. You know, it was cameras, lights, action. Sure. You know, it was like you was in a movie. Right. Sure. You know, so yeah, at the beginning it was fun until some other things came into play, and I'm sure we'll get to that. Right. You know,
you're actually like the star now. You're the cutie on duty. Like you have all the attention now.
Cutie on duty. I like that one. I like that one. Cutie on duty.
Yeah, that's where that shit. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
That's where that stuff comes from.
Okay. Right? Okay.
So for the attention, for the glamour, you know, to be the best one or to get the most money or whatever. That's what we do.
Look, I thought I've seen this in the past. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, she told me her boyfriend was a pimp, but she was not a prostitute. Is that possible?
It depends on who the guy is. So it depends on how you choose to be in life as well. So some prostitutes, some people decide to have a square boyfriend, you know, and they just go to make the money and they don't really tell them what they're really doing. And then sometimes it's just, and vice versa. Sometimes you have the pimps who have women who are there that they don't put on the street, that they don't want to do what the rest of the girls are doing.
That's their bottom.
Okay.
That's their bottom. But somebody,
that's their what?
That's their bottom girl.
Bottom.
Yeah, but trust and believe, everybody's contributing.
Okay.
Somewhere.
You're not walking down the street, you picking up pockets, you signing them checks, you doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dinner, you doing something.
Like everybody else's children, you doing something.
All right, so I'm just going to ask this question. For everybody, I would assume everyone. I'm sure that sex is enjoyable. Is sex enjoyable while you're doing it as a job, as a person in the trade? Is it still an enjoyable experience when you're engaged in that? And does that go into the term of I've heard being turned out?
Well, for as sick as it sounds, the sex with my pimp, was. You have your mind, it's like a mind game. So your mind is fixated and you're already brainwashed into loving him. So anybody you do something else with, it doesn't matter. You kind of put it out your mind. And that's most of the reason why we turn to alcohol and drugs, because we can medicate or, you know, numb those feelings with those things, and so that we can still be in touch with our true feelings for the man that we fell in love with or that brainwashed us.
Okay.
And often, that's how I got turned out initially, was through sex with somebody that I was sleeping with, and I believe his goal was to turn me out. So I remember while engaging in sex, that's when he basically told me what I'd be doing.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But it was never ever enjoyable after that. Okay. So I had to self-medicate.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
There was no way of just walking away from that.
No. Well, I hid for a little while, but I got found.
Okay.
We used to run, run off. Yeah, we called it back then. We would run off, from the pimp, or just so that we can get away. But you talked about the sex pot, and for myself, it was a couple of times. Well, when I left out, because the pimp, had so many prostitutes, right? So there was times where even with the John. We call them tricks, that I remember, feeling that the sex was okay. You know what I mean? Right. Because I was horny. Sure. That's the bottom line. I'm just, being truthfully honest. That's right. And so we do some things and we don't want to say some things, right? Because we be like, no, if I say that to, my girl, she gonna be like, they're gonna look at me a certain way. But there is times that it's just not about, you getting off with your pimp. Sure.
So let me just, go into another phase of this. We're talking about the drug aspect of the game, physical abuse. I think what we've covered so far is the mental abuse that occurs. Is that an aspect of it?
Absolutely.
Asking Tracy that my nickname was Panda. I got punched in my face so many times that my nickname was Panda on the track. Wow. You hear me? I kept long. Remember back in the days when Donna Summer's Bad Girls, toot hey with the with the Jerry curl wigs. I used to have to stay with wigs to cover my eyes and down to my butt because I got punched in my face so many times. I still have life scars. It's probably why I don't care for like a lot of makeup all the time, and because I still to this day now, mind you, I've been out of the life for quite some time now, but I still have permanent rings around my eyes from getting punched in my face so many times by my man or my pimp or whatever you want to call it back in the day. I got 6 to 8 stitches all over my face. I've been have 18 stitches in my head. My wrist been broken on both sides. I have a fractured arm, fractured legs, been left for dead a few times by my man. Beatings, abuse. Oh, please.
That was part of it.
Abuse.
Anyone else?
It plays a part. And like you were saying, Stacey, I just remember like getting beat because either, I didn't bring home the right quarter, you know what I mean? So I would have to stay out there and it just didn't work. I remember like, the pimp just literally walking on my body. Like literally standing on me and walking my body, beating me with like extension cords and belts because when they say something goes, it's supposed to go and you supposed to listen, and I'm because that's daddy. Wow. That's daddy pimp.
Anyone else like to respond to that question?
Absolutely. Sometimes it was just because. You know what I mean? It was just because I just happened to be in arm shot.
So most of you didn't come into this saying while you're in high school, middle school, wherever you were at that time, I want to be a prostitute.
Absolutely.
Are there women that just want to be a prostitute that chase the profession?
I'm pretty sure that there probably is, but like on the strength of me using and getting high, like dope was my pimp. That was my first pimp, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ran around, in the after hours and stuff like that by myself for a period of time, but I didn't have no man, and I was making my own, and then eventually I ran into one that he looked really nice and conservative looking, you know what I'm saying? And I chose to turn around and be with him, but I had a trick that was treating me like a queen. I mean, he brought me roses, he brought champagne, right? And all
does that make me a trick when I do that?
Wait a minute. And my man was in the other room, okay? So it wasn't a problem to me because this man spends a bunch of C notes, you know what I'm saying? But because I was in there and I had the roses and I had the C notes, my man jumped up out the bed and turned around and hit me. Called me in the room and hit me because I was in there like with that date. Well, wait a minute, you got to make up your mind. Either you want me to turn dates or you want me to just be with you. You know what I'm saying? So it was jealousy that kicked in on him.
Let me say this to our viewers and to our listeners. This is what we consider community star power today. These beautiful women that have changed your lives and are willing to talk to you today about their experiences so our daughters don't fall into the hands of the wrong men. But like I said, we got to think about this. I buy flowers and all that other stuff. Am I in the trick category? Y'all got to tell me that. Am I considered a trick when I do that, lady?
Do you feel like a trick? Do you feel like a trick? Maybe Okay,
all right. We're gonna take some questions from some of our folks around the country that are listening. Jay, what do we have?
Trey, this topic is buzzing right now. So we have Miss Melissa from Brooklyn, New York. She asked, were any of your fathers a part or involved in your lives in those formative years?
No. Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Well,
were they a part? Were they a part of our lives?
Yeah. So
in our lives. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't, and I took a lot of abuse, like from my moms with different men at times as I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? So it was like abusive all the way around.
Yeah, that was my story. I was never protected, so.
Right. Well, yeah. And for me, I grew up in a foster home where I thought the meaning of love was if my man beat me or if he hit me. So the abuse thing was accepted because I saw my foster dad hit my foster mom. So that was love at that time. So if you didn't hit me, you didn't love me. So the slaps were all right until they turned into punches and kicks.
Wow. So let me. This is my own person. You think if your dads were around in your lives, you think that that you might have taken a different path? This is an open question.
We never know. For me, the reason why I took the path, because as a little girl, I was being touched by my uncle. Okay. And so I at that time, I looked for like anybody, a boyfriend, a man, to just be there so that my uncle can see that I got somebody on my arm, and just maybe he would leave me alone. Got it. So that's why I ended up in the life, and then I ended up getting pregnant at 15 and having my daughter, who's 42 now. Because I just wanted him to leave me alone. So yeah, my dad was there, but like my uncle was manipulating me enough to do what he needed to do for himself, and so I ended up, going to the streets.
Okay. So it's a lot deeper than just being turned out. A lot of stuff happens to little girls as little girls, and you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that both parents have to be in the home. You know what I mean? But we go to the street for something.
A lot of times, like I said, my foster home, my parents worked a lot, right? We come from a working class. So I was molested as a child because they weren't there all the time to see people touching us and having like full-on intercourse with a 6-year-old in the first grade. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have another question here. We have Miss Eliza. This is out of Atlanta, Georgia. She said, what would you advise any young girls who are in the game or thinking about going into that lifestyle?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. All this glitter is not gold.
Right.
Don't do it.
Get an education.
Now they have groups now for young girls. Like before, when we was coming up, they didn't have place for us to go to. They didn't have nobody that we can talk to, so we talked amongst each other. Right. And we became a family. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But now they have like groups.
Organizations
young girls to go to. We have jobs like Stacy. I talked about the job she worked at. Right. I remember working at a job and it was called The Gift, and it worked with sexual exploitation of young girls.
Yeah, and I still work with young girls. I work with early young adults who are like aged out like 18, 19, 21, through Real House, and that's what we do. We work with women who've been exploited.
And me, myself, I get them right in while they're being exploited. You know what I mean? Because I work in substance abuse. Right. You know what I mean? And so, and have a lot of my peers that work with exploited girls, and so what I would say to any little girl that's looking for love is not being turned out. Right. You know what I mean? Just hold on wherever you're at.
Right? And love shouldn't hurt.
You know what I mean? Learn the words that they use. Like
exactly.
But we're gonna go back to that. Jay, you got more questions?
We got one more question. I know we have time. We got a little bit more time. Okay, cool. This is my man Brian out of Washington D.C. What up, B? Did any of you seriously date your pimps? Like date them, and was you like their main girl?
I started out as I thought he was my boyfriend in high school. We went to Boston Technical High. I was in
that was my high school. What year was that?
1981. I'm class of 84. And he was my boyfriend in high school, and we just had a lot of friends that were in their life. So I guess his friends turned him out to turn me out for us to turn each other out, and it just turned into this big vicious cycle. So yes, he was my boyfriend in the beginning, but he said, if you love me, me, like with the sex, when our sister over there said, if you love me while we're having sex, then you'll do anything I ask you to do. Yes. Because he had a friend that was pimping somebody out, and he seen how he was getting money. Then we had to go in town, and after I turned the first trick, I was getting beat down. You know, and it turned into a vicious cycle.
And for me, it was, you know, he was a neighbor. We went to school together. He was my neighbor. We grew up together, and he was the one who turned me out. He was grooming me all along when I thought like he was really my friend, and he was really looking out for me, and he was protecting me. But really, he was grooming me for himself.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that, folks? We're going to really go into some issues about what to look out for after we hear from our national sponsor, our local and national sponsors that make the show What's on the Menu happen. What do we have, Cheryl?
For our local sponsors, we have Urbanica for building design needs, Eddie Jenkins Law, Callaway Graphics, Sweet Embers Bakery, J. Rockwell Sound Studio, Shun's Kitchen out of the South End. We have Janie Construction, Leo Papel, George Kramer, and some anonymous donors. For our national sponsors, we have Better Belly out of Chicago, The Shop for all your t-shirt needs in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and 8 Pond Concept Productions out of Miami, Florida.
Now, folks, she never gets through that without making a mistake. But we cannot clap for her yet because at the very beginning of the show, she has not got through it yet. So any of you that are waging bets out there on whether she can get through it, she did not do it again today. Ladies, let me ask you. You have a daughter. What are some of the signs you as a father, as a mother, that you need to look out for with your 14-year-old daughter that she may be in the process of being turned out? I would assume most of these men were older men as well.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Or the same. They could have been the same age, or you know.
But what do you look out for? What are some of the signs?
For the typical stuff, defiance, defense of the boyfriend or hiding of the boyfriend. Too many hotel parties with the boyfriend. Because I always tell my daughters. My daughters are of age now, but when they were younger, be careful of the boob shots and the coochie shots. You know what I mean? Because you're sending them those pictures, and now social media is a monster, right? It's like with the back page and the Craigslist and all that kind of other stuff. You don't want to take those pictures for these guys that say they love you, and then you're on to the next relationship, and he's posting your pictures, or he's trying to talk you into being, doing something over the internet instead of walking the street. Because old school prostitutes walk the street now. They don't have to. They can just post a picture, get a sale, and that's it, and they're off and running. So be careful of the quick money. I can get a quick hit and meet them over there, and they're paying for it. Then I can have a hotel to have a party later on. No, it's not okay. I will never glamorize or justify why anybody should be doing that, especially my babies. I'm very scared of that, and that's why I really keep it real with my kids. My kids know all my business first. So this show, anything about me, anybody knows, my kids know first, and kids love their parents.
We want to thank you for sharing this experience with us as well, so we can educate the community. Did you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say that unfortunately, because of my lifestyle, I didn't get to my daughters in time. So they also had experiences young with being turned out. Thank God they were able to find their way out. But what I would say to any parent and their daughter, the one thing that I wish somebody had told me was how valuable I am.
Right.
Like, I sit on a gold mine that I am.
A queen, sister.
That I'm a queen, but we're also the mothers of the earth, so really we can call the shots.
Right.
I wish somebody had just educated me on that, so that when that first little boy asked me for sex, I would be able to say no.
Sure. I'm going to go back a little bit too. I'm a product of the '70s. I can remember years ago there was a pimp in my neighborhood. All the kids, we all looked up to him. The pimps dressed, they were flashy. They had the Cadillacs, the leather on the back windows, and the shape of a diamond. And I'm going to be honest. Even the prostitutes, they were like glamorous, like Hollywood stars. And I'm sure that was maybe in your era. What changed things? Did drugs really impact? Because now when you look at, you see women out there, and I'm older now, so I feel for them in a different way, but how is it? They don't have that look. They don't have that healthy look and that prominence about them anymore. Was drugs the main issue around that?
Crack is whack. Right. Somebody famous woman say that. Crack is whack. And so when crack came into play, it changed how, like back then.
Even the pimps getting high.
Even the pimps. Like, it changed. Like, we wore wigs and, we had, like you say, we were glamorous back then. We had style. We had taste, and now there's just no taste. And neither with like the girls don't care, the young prostitutes don't care, and the Johns and the Tricks don't care neither.
Well, and they're doing it all over the city.
Right. Yes.
Well, when do you be on Blue Hill? Turn around and call and get some prostitution. You know what I'm saying? It was downtown LaGrange Street, and that's right. Now they're all over the city because of that crack cocaine. And makes you just step right out the door and stand on the corner to turn around and get that money.
And back in the day, the men also had to be in competition with their cars and and the way they dress. But now, in today's age, they don't have to be, right? Because it's easier to do it like in a hotel or set up a page, or we got smartphones and stuff like that. So they don't have to make the extra effort to get the money because it's done in another way.
Sure.
So a lot of times, I know a lot of young women, nice looking, like nice looking, like maybe 17 to 25-year-old young girls that come through treatment, because I work in treatment as well, right? That come through treatment that make big money. Right? And you would never know because of the way social media and the way the laws have been made us change the way this profession goes about, right? So that's another thing that's happening, is that they can slide under the radar because they don't have to wear the big fancy hats or the big fly wigs or the mini skirts. They can simply post a picture and go on about their business, or an ad and go on about their business.
Now I got to say this to our listeners and viewers. I don't care what my son or daughter would think. If I thought my boy was involved in the streets, I'd be through his dresser drawers, sneaker boxes, looking for that gun or whatever else. But with the women, start checking. You see your baby got a lot of cash coming from somewhere and jewelry. You know something's wrong. And if she's in your house, I don't care. She's just borrowing that room that she's in. That is not her room. Now I want to go into something a little different now. Across the country, I'm sure the game. This is a kind of a moderate-sized city, 600,000 plus people. Is the game different in a major city like New York, Chicago?
Man, I went to Puerto Rico, okay? And being in Puerto Rico, it was legal, and the police would even get you a drink. You know what I'm saying? In all the clubs, the little dance places and stuff, that's where you would go into and stuff. But I couldn't believe the police was calling me to bring me a date. I said, no, sir, I was loving Puerto Rico.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well, we went Vegas was a trip. Girls, I said, girls. What are they talking about? So when they told me, I was like, oh shoot! I thought it was a fad because I had never been to Vegas. But then, as the years went on, I finally went to Vegas to see what the brothels were about and all this other kind of stuff. And I still wasn't impressed because I never really cared for having sex for money. It's just that I did what I had to do until I can learn how to rob them, steal them, pick them up, stuff like that.
And like, I remember being in Atlanta, going to Atlanta, and there, the prostitutes there, they wouldn't even tell you that you was in danger. Right. Like, they wouldn't even, like, they didn't have your back like we had each other's back. Right. They wouldn't even tell you, like, that's an undercover cop right there. Right. That's a detective.
So they're trying to get you competition out of the way.
Right. And so I remember, getting in this car, and it was an undercover. And I'm telling you, the prostitutes were all right there, and they seen me. They did not say nothing. And when I turned around like this, I seen nothing but a badge, and I went to jail.
Wow. Absolutely. So
different, yes.
So just in another direction too. So, is there ever a time that you got a vacation that parents and prostitutes vacation together?
What's that? What?
No what?
Vacation.
No what was that?
7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I remember downtown Boston. I'll never forget it. It used to be the Bradford Hotel, right? Alfie's, right? And all them. And you're walking in the street at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's 70 below your mama. And you walking up on them bricks, because there was bricks on the sidewalks back then, with 4-inch heels, trying to balance yourself with the wig, and you cold, but you didn't make your quota, so you know to stay out there. Yeah. So all of a sudden it's hot. It's all of a sudden 100 degrees when you know he's coming around that corner if you ain't got no money. A break, a vacation. What was that?
None of that. Going to Puerto Rico was a part of the vacation.
Well, no, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't get one of them trips, okay? Because I used to turn around and feel like I was special because I was a young one out of all his girls, okay? I So I turned around and we went, okay, my wife-in-law, okay, which is another woman that's in the life. Okay. I had a wife-in-law, and they had went on a trip or something. But when it was time for me to go on my trip, she was jealous and she had issues all the time. And he beat her so bad that... And he told me a truck ran over her. She was wrapped up like a mummy and stuff. She flushed his $15,000 ring down the toilet. And he tried to put her head in the toilet. You know, and he beat her really bad. But he wouldn't let me see that part, you know, because I was that little young one that, you know, wasn't tolerated. Plus, I had brothers in the life, so I was protected. So, like, don't let me see no bumps on my sister. You know what I'm saying?
How about, do we have any situations where the tricks would be physical? Would you
They had my wig, and I'm outside on the ground. They grabbed me by my hair, and I was like, oh, hell.
I gotta ask a question. Were you in trouble, or was the trick in trouble for grabbing your wig?
He was in trouble for grabbing my wig.
I remember, like, you know, getting in the car, you know, and the trick turned. I mean, I even have a scar here from them having a machete, you know, and they try to stick it. I'm trying to get away from them because, like, I'm not gonna get killed. I don't want to get killed. You know, I shouldn't say I'm not gonna, because it was many times where our friends that they got killed, and we still would be out there working when the detective would come around the corner and say, you know, we just found such and such over there, so why don't you go home? But anyway,
so you're just
I would jump out the car, and I wouldn't have no top piece on. The wig is off, and the last wheel almost missed my head because I got to get out this car because this man is getting ready to kill me.
And so we ain't talking about the gang rapes now with the bike.
We talking about one at a time.
Got taken. We was in the bar, and then me and my wife-in-law was there going with these guys. We went with the guys, and it ended up that when we got like almost there or whatever, they had turned around and pulled out the knives and everything. They blindfolded you. Because they didn't want you to know where they was taking you. And I got blindfolded, and then they was taking us in, and there was some lines of guys that you had to like walk through. So I was edging about like walking through because I didn't know what they was going to do to me as I was walking through them. But as we turned around and got in there, it ended up that they took the blindfolders off, and then you got, you know, raped. You wasn't getting paid, you know. And then one of them wanted to kill me because when one got finished, I took his glove and I wiped myself with it, and he went crazy. He wanted to turn around and really kill me.
I'm sorry, folks. You all, this conversation is so wonderful, and I want to thank you all for being here. I forgot to go to my Jay again, my man Jay, for people from across the country.
All right, so we have my man Jonathan. He's out of Brockton, Mass, and he says, are any of you in an active relationship, and does that affect does your past affect your relationship now?
No, I'm married. I've been with my husband now 4 years, off and on for 30 years. So out the gate, we had to get something straight, right? Like, this is what I did. This is, but I'm not what happened to me. I'm not what I done. So if you're gonna love me, this is my story, and you're gonna love me unconditionally, like I love you unconditionally, or we can't be together. And so, yes, we used to hear that phrase all the time. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife. Well, I am happily married, in love with my husband, and he knows all of my business, and we've been together. And hopefully we'll be together forever. I ain't mad.
We are proud of you, sister, and we are very, very happy for you. Jay, another question?
We have Miss Tiffany, Coney Island.
Coney Island.
Were any of your pimps lovable and did not abuse their prostitutes, their ladies, I would guess?
At the beginning. Right. You know, at the beginning, because they wanted us to believe or think that, like, they were the man, you know, like, I got you, I love you, you know, and then we fall in love with them. You know what I mean? And then, and only then, that's when the tricks came out the bag.
Yeah, and mine's never abused me unless he heard the frog in my throat, because he didn't want me getting high, and I would take my money. Wait a minute, I make 1,000, right? But I'll give him 100. Okay. And I've been there because I told you that drugs was my pimp first. You know what I'm saying? And I ran through them, you know, halls and everything with my own money, you know, and then I chose him, but but not to take all my money. Because when I'm out there doing dates, you can't protect me. Yeah. Because where are you? Right. And I'm jumping out of cars, you know? But no.
Jay, one more question, Jay.
We have Carlos out of LA. He says, are there any difference between strippers and prostitutes?
Yes, there is. I had some friends along the way, because I used to work for the Boston Bunnies, the Palomino, the Naked Eye, the Sevens. I worked at Stardust in New Jersey. I worked at the Mardi Gras on Broadway in 49th. So even though I had to do both things, and at that time I thought it was exciting because I get to really be on the stage with this crystal ball. That's back when the crystal ball was anyway. I did know a lot of people, and then going through college, I met a lot of girls who just dance and didn't like have a pimp or stuff like that. So it is possible. It just depends on where they're at in their lives, what they're doing, and who they're connected with.
I had a problem with stripping because couldn't everybody in there pay me. Right. So I wouldn't do that. I didn't get into stripping.
I'm going to ask one more question before I give the ladies a chance to tell us how you got out of the life. But there's a new show on HBO called The Deuce. And it's about women in prostitution. And now the women in prostitution are transitioning into pornography. Right. Does prostitution lead you into the pornography? Well, did it lead you into that?
I think that it can. It's a prerequisite almost. Right. And then there's big money in it. Right. And I was talking about having a child, because a lot of young girls are call girls. They do porn shows because there's money in it. Right. You know what I mean? So that it's not necessarily they want to be exploited, but the money is what attracts them. You know what I mean? So and it gives them a sense of independence.
And that's what's happening to the college girls. They're becoming the sugar babies, right? Yeah. Where they are doing that for older men to pay their tuition, or for them to be like, the cutie on duty, or to get your college paid for in college.
All right. So we're running out of time, ladies. How did you get out of the life? What turned the corner? What made you turn the corner?
First of all, for me, I would have probably got killed because after a while, giving somebody my money.
Oh, you gonna kill the pimp?
No, he would have killed me.
Okay.
Because it just wasn't. I mean, it got old fast for me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I chose to get out. Was it easy? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? Because it's not just easy to just kind of. But I had to drop out of sight. You know what I mean? And change my life. And that's how I got out.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just, I went to jail, and I can say now, thank God for jail, and as she said, like, I got tired, so I started telling the truth about like what happened to me when I was a little girl, about my uncle doing some things to me, and just telling the truth, and knowing that it was okay to tell the truth, and that I wasn't going to get killed, I wasn't going to get hurt, and that was the beginning, and once I was able to do that, it was like no, because at the end it was like I was fighting back. Now I'm fighting the pimp back, and I'm pulling knives on the pimp because no, you're not going to beat me, none one more time again, you're not going to do it. So I started fighting back, and I started like running off, like they said, and then I said, forget it. I'm going to work, and I'm going to keep my money. I'm not stashing no money no more. No, I'm not doing that no more. That's my money. I'm working for it. It's mine. I'm the one that's out here, and so you're not going to do it. And so then I left them, and I went to jail, and by me going to jail, and then beginning to talk to some people, I just got out the life.
For me, I just knew that there was an innate goodness inside of me, and that I wanted to do something different and something better for my life. I knew that wasn't a hobby that I wanted to keep or to have it all. So when I decided to go back to school, I think is what it did it for me, because I had something else to do with my time, and I also got into a healthy relationship. I found somebody who loved me in spite of all my flaws, and so I was well on my way, and so that's what got me out.
Well, ladies, I want to say we all love you here too as well. I want to give each one of you an opportunity to make a closing statement. Say whatever you like. You can speak out to the viewers, or you got 30 seconds to say whatever you like about yourself, about what we discussed today.
I'm truly blessed on the strength that I recovered from all my past, and in recovery and staying clean and just being responsible.
Okay.
I'm loving my life, and I'm so glad that I chose me instead of them. And to any young woman or grown woman, you know what I mean, if you got substance abuse problems, there's treatment. You know what I mean? You don't have to continue to sell your bodies. And if there's anybody trying to exploit you, there's a way out of that as well.
Okay. Cece?
Just know that, I know that I'm special today. I know that I'm somebody today. I know that I'm worthy and I'm deserving today. And so, taking those affirmations and putting them everywhere, in my pocket, in my pocketbook, on the wall, just knowing that I'm somebody. And I just want to say to, especially our little girls out there, what you think it is, it's not.
It's not
And when you get that little sweet nothing in your ear when some boy come up on a bike or got some, because see, pimps don't look like the pimps they were back then.
No,
they got on sneakers.
Right.
They got locks in their hair.
Right.
They got braids in their hair.
Right.
They got jeans on.
Right.
But meanwhile, they're giving you phones and they're giving you sneakers and they're giving you like don't let them hear you talk about, oh, my mommy or my daddy made me mad, because they're gonna turn around now and say some wonderful things in your ear.
Right.
And they're grooming you. So just know that you are special and that you are somebody and that you are loved no matter what. You are loved. And you do not have to sell your body for nobody, not even yourself.
Did you hear that, ladies? You do not have to be out there doing what you're doing. There's 4 women in here that will testify to that, and they are here to help you if you need help. Stacey, take us out of here.
Right. I just want you ladies to know that you are not what happened to you if you already made these mistakes, and that you still have value, dignity, and respect. You can bounce back from it. You are resilient. You are worth it. And just live your life the best you can, a day at a time. Be blessed.
Wow. Jay, are you there?
Man, I am here. I'm just listening to these ladies' stories, Man, hold on a second. We're not going to talk about, we had a pimp here earlier.
Oh, man.
But
He went out.
He went out real quick. He was like, man, you know what?
The only thing I understood, I said, can you explain to me why you want to be on the panel? He said, yabba dabba do. I don't understand that. I think he just saw he was outnumbered.
He is outnumbered.
So I'm trying to get up out of this church today. But let me just say one other thing too. I want everybody to pray today. For a good friend of ours, Reverend Wall's wife had surgery recently, and we are all there in her corner. We want her to come back to us soon.
Right.
Reverend Wall, you know you're in trouble because you were supposed to be leaving early, but he stayed to hear this show. That's how good this show was today. Cheryl, what do you think about today's show, about this discussion today?
I want to thank all the ladies for being here. Unfortunately, the pimp was outnumbered. And I don't see anything being hard as a pimp because, pimping is easy. If you have you ladies are doing all the work, so they don't know what they're talking about in that song.
Sure.
But I want to thank you all for being here and sharing your story.
And just to mention it to everyone, the next co-producer is my girlfriend. When I made about that statement about me being a trick, she didn't laugh. So she was looking at you like, you better get that answer together. She didn't laugh at all. Gail, what would you like to say about today's show?
I've sat here. It was very, very open dialogue, nice conversation. We probably swayed into some directions we didn't want to go to. We just want to make sure we kept our language clean. Thank you, beautiful, wonderful ladies, for doing that, because that puts ease on everybody's pocketbook in this room today.
Absolutely.
And the other side of that is, you all are some dynamic women, and I think for myself that I have a newfound love for prostitution and the women that are out there on the street. So you taught me a lot. It wasn't a direction I ever had to worry about going in. That wasn't my life. I didn't worry about it. I'm honestly saying it. But at least you gave me enough knowledge to know that times are different. And if young women that I love, that mean something to me in my life, were to sway in that direction, I feel more equipped in having that dialogue and that conversation with them. Be your best self. And be well and live well.
Ladies, what you did for us today was special. We have a special section of our program called the National Spotlight. I want you all to stay near the microphones, though. I think we'll have some more time left to answer some additional questions. Jay, what do we have this week?
Trey Ocho, we came through with something.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's called Warm Daddies. This restaurant out of Philadelphia, and they was able to give us a great interview, and let's get to it. Warm Daddies out of Philly. This is the section of our show called the National Spotlight. It's where we put the spotlight on entrepreneurs, businesses, brands, actors, singers, athletes, you name it, we want you on the spotlight. But you have to be the best of the best in order to get on the spotlight. This week on the spotlight, we have something incredible for you, especially if you enjoy eating good food like myself. We have Mr. Michael Williams of the world famous Warm Daddy's restaurant. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Can you hear me well?
Yes, absolutely. We can hear you. Awesome. Michael, welcome to What's on the Menu. Welcome to the National Spotlight. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. It's a privilege to be selected to be on your program. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. So why the name Warm Daddy's for a restaurant?
Well, Warm Daddy's is owned by two brothers, Robert and Benjamin Bynum, who have a huge branding reputation for entrepreneurship and philanthropic endeavors in the city and surrounding area of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They chose Warm Daddy's based on Russell Adams. His nickname was Warm Daddy, Russell Warm Daddy Anderson. Excuse me. He's a saxophonist, jazz, alto, soprano saxophonist. That's about all I can give you on the name Warm Daddies. I'm not sure what their connection is to this individual, whether they like this music or they got an opportunity to meet them. But that was the name chosen for the restaurant.
Nah, I like it. I enjoy it. I like the name Warm Daddy. So where exactly is Warm Daddy located?
Warm Daddy's is located in the South Philadelphia region of the city, along main artery, Delaware Avenue, and Christopher Columbus Boulevard. It splits from Delaware Avenue. Later down goes into Christopher Columbus Boulevard, but it's along the waterfront, overlooking the Schuylkill River.
Awesome. You hear that, folks? National Spotlight. We've gone to Mexico. We've gone to Philadelphia. Now we're in Philadelphia. Oh, man. So, Michael, in your opinion, what is Warm Daddy's known for?
Well, first and foremost, Warm Daddy's is known for entertainment. It was designed because people didn't have a place to go to hear live music, to hear good music, jazz, blues, rhythm and blues. Next would be the culinary aspect. Benjamin Bynum is the executive chef for all of the Bynum Hospitality Group restaurants. They currently own and manage 4 restaurants. And so he designs the menus for all of that. And third is the service. Nowhere else can you get the kind of service that you can get at Warm Daddy's to complement a great culinary experience as well as a great entertaining experience.
Okay, awesome. So who are some of the artists that have performed at Warm Daddy's?
Oh man, it's a who's who of anybody from regional acts to Grammy award-winning acts.
Wow.
Jill Scott, The Roots, which are Music Soul Child, which are Philadelphia favorites, and native to Philadelphia. But again, international, national. Warm Daddy's has expanded its musical repertoire as the music industry has changed. So has Warm Daddy's to meet the needs of its clients and future musicians and acts looking to make a mark within the industry. So where it used to be just rhythm and blues, now it's all the above. It's gospel, it's rhythm and blues, it's poetry on some nights, depending on a particular promoter. It's a lot of cover bands, it's a lot of national bands. We just had Breakwater not too long ago, a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And it's a good time.
Got it. Now, Michael, what is the Mason Jar Specials? What is that?
Mason Jar Specials are drinks that come served in a mason jar. To mention a few, we have the Sweet Georgia Peach, which is exactly what it is. It has a nice sweet texture to it. The ladies really like that one. Parrot Bay Coconut Rum. We also have the Carolina Rum Punch. So we have a collection of dark and light rums mixed in with that, with our own special fruit punch that we make in-house. Okay. A lot of our products are made from scratch in-house.
Okay.
And we also have Honey Jar for those that like the Jack Honey and the Southern Comfort little whiskey bourbon type of blend for you there. So.
Got it. So what does the Warm Daddy's menu consist of? Give us a little something.
It's eclectic. It has a nice mix. It's not just meat. We have a wonderful barbecue salmon. We have your staples, fried we have short ribs for those that want to eat it. We have wonderful turkey wing platter, huge turkey wings, braised, nice brown coating to them, oven cooked. What else do we have? That there, I think what else?
Man, you're making me hungry just by saying a little bit of these things. So, about how many people do Warm Daddies hold?
Daddy's capacity is approximately 100 people. That would be in our dining room and our cafe bar area. We all cafe bar area.
Okay. Does Warm Daddies have like a happy hour?
Yes, we do. We celebrate happy hour 6 days, 5 days out of the week. So Wednesday through Friday, we have your traditional happy hour, 5 to 7 p.m. $2 off all cocktails, 50% off all appetizers. Mm-hmm. And on Saturday, we have the best happy hour in the city. It's known as Happier Hour.
Happier Hour. I like to be happy.
It's 50% off all alcohol beverages, 50% off the same appetizer list, and another caveat for the people with children, if you're coming through, for every adult entree order, you get 2 free kid meals.
Wow.
And,
okay.
the happy hour takes place throughout the entire restaurant, so you're not restricted to the bar as it is from Wednesday to Friday. Just the bar.
Got it. So, how can our viewers and listeners check you guys out? You guys have a website, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know, please.
Absolutely, we do have social media, Facebook and Instagram. I believe Twitter as well. Warm Daddies would be how you would find that. We also have our own website, which is warmdaddies.com, with different links to our live musical lineup that's going to happen throughout the month. Our menu is present. We also partnered up with Open Table, so you can make reservations as well as look at our menu and look at the positive guest reviews as well.
Wow, absolutely. Michael, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I'm hearing things in the background, so thank you so much for fitting us in. And listen, folks, you hear it first. Warm Daddies is the place to be if you're in the Philadelphia area. Once again, it's your main man, Jay Jizzy. Keep knocking, keep rocking, folks, on the National Spotlight. Peace and love, folks. Thank you, Michael. Have a good one, brother.
Thank you, Jay. You too. God bless.
God bless.
Jay, that was crazy. National Spotlight, Warm Daddies.
Yo, we just warming up right now.
Yeah, man. When Gail and I had the opportunity to go there, it was just something special to us. So I thought we should have him on the show. And I want to say the Philadelphia people treated us so nice. The folks that were sitting around us, it was a beautiful place. But while we were away folks were listening to our National Spotlight, we were having another riveting discussion in here. Jay, what was the question that you said you wanted to ask?
So one of my questions was, do pimps get turned out too?
Can the pimp get turned out?
Yes, that's what happened to me. Like I said earlier, when I first started, me and my boyfriend were in high school together.
No, Stace, when you explain, remember you can't swear. All right, because when you were talking a little earlier, you were getting into it. So.
She speaks very passionately.
I'm not about to say sugar honey iced tea. Boom pow. Got him. Any who's and flowers. Yeah. I believe that because he was caught up in the lifestyle or wanting to be in the lifestyle and wanting to be in the game and be the man, he listened to his friends. And we come from a dark place. We come from the hood. We came from Grove Hall, Seaver Street, Blue Hill Ave, and so because all his friends were addicts and because they were pimping their girlfriends, he seen how they were living, he wanted to do it. And so I believe at the time when I started, we didn't turn each other out. His friends turned him out, telling him what to do with me as he turned me out. Mm-hmm. And then because I thought that I was in love, I stayed with him and did whatever he told me to do. And I remember plenty of nights when we returned home after we made our quarter, whether it be $300 to $500 a night, right? That we would go back to a basement apartment and I would hear his friends in there and the next room with them calling us all kind of expletives. Right? And just degrading us and treating us like less than human, right? And because that need or that feeling for love, I stayed there. Like I ran off a few times, but that makes the beatings worse, and that just only makes him like he came through my families and everywhere else to find me. And because I felt like I wasn't getting that love from my family, I always ran away and went back.
But you mentioned too that they would become insecure at times as well.
Oh, of course he did. Well, I remember when I first started going into town, and he would ask me crazy questions about, like, did I like it? What did I use a condom? Were they bigger than me? I constantly got punched in the face about, did I use a condom? Did I like it? Was their thing big? Was their thing bigger than his thing?
Insecurities.
Yes, big insecurities. Am I looking at other pimps? Why am I hanging with certain hoes? And we was just talking about a person that we grew up with who was like our safety net, like she was our big sister, so to speak, in the life, and she didn't care, you know. And so as he was getting schooled by the other pimps that were hanging on the block or in the clubs or Sugar Shacks, right?
Sugar Shack.
Yeah, Togethers, the Berkeley down on Mass Ave, right? And stuff like that. I was started hanging with the girls to find out, cause like he had to learn, I had to learn, so we kind of like got turned out together. But I feel like he took it to another level because I never stayed without a black eye.
Sure. Before I say this next thing too, folks, and when she said the Berkeley, we're not speaking of the School of Music. We're talking about somewhere else. This was the Berkeley back in the day.
The Berkeley pub on Mass Avenue.
There you go. So, ladies, another question. Young men, I'm sure that there are young men that are in prostitution as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
if they are they being pimped by male pimps? And do they go through the same issues that women pimps had gone through?
Yes, they do.
Anybody?
They do. Yeah, and it's real important to know that young boys, they get groomed as well.
Right.
You know, and they get turned out and they get pimped by a male as well. So, yes.
Okay.
My experience working in the field is I work in Section 35. So what happens is the transgender men go with other men, and then they turn them out. And I even met one who tried to commit suicide a couple of times because his pimp would not let him out of the life and would threaten him and his whole family.
Wow. Wow. Well, how about if we say, we have to wrap this up actually, but I'm going to ask one quick question. Madams, what is the role of a madam?
She's a pimp.
She's a pimp.
She's a pimp too, huh?
Yeah,
right.
she's a pimp.
Sometimes they're worse, sometimes they're okay. I mean, you know, like, but for the most part, it's all bad because it's all about them benefiting the most from whatever it is.
Ladies, we're running out of time. Is that right, producers? Yeah, we have to wrap it up. This, I have to say, team, was our best show.
I think so.
I had so much fun. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheryl?
I learned so much, and man, it was exciting.
What do you think, Cheryl?
Thank everybody for coming. It was a great show. Very good show.
Okay, Wu-Tang messed up again. She wasn't close enough to the mic.
I'm on the mic. It was fun.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming in. Jay, take us out.
Hey, there's a quote that I like to leave y'all with. Sometimes God takes you on a journey that you didn't know you needed to bring. You didn't know you needed to bring you everything you ever wanted.
Amen.
Trust the plan. Until next time, folks, keep knocking, keep rocking. I holla.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, sure. That was nice.
That was excellent.
Thank you guys for having
That was the
us.
best show.
Oh, that was nice.
Wonderful.
And you know,
brought us back, right?
Yeah, brought us back. Yeah. You know, whenever we get asked those type of questions, like, you go back to a situation. See what I'm saying? Like,